Hello YouTube! I know it's been a really long time, but I finally got around to making a video about the latest Besiege update. For version 0.85, they've added the last two zones of Valfrost, fixed a lot of bugs, and made some other tweaks as well. This zone here is called Mountain Barrier. The prompt says to tear down the barrier, but the more important part is actually the tower on the hill, so Donald Trump can keep his wall. Having an elevated castle as the main target, with less important targets on the ground, is a lot like Eris's refuge in Talbrand. Still, we haven't had a solid double-layered wall yet, so I think people will enjoy building tough machines to bulldoze through it. The one thing I don't like is that the hitboxes are way off in some places. And it's not trivial either. You might want to climb the rock face to get to the tower. So I do hope they polish that at some point. The other zone they added is called Revolving Monolith. This puzzle zone is creative, elaborate, and challenging, and it includes a lot of great visuals. I really like the effect of the fire magically enchanting the segments of the monolith to make them mobile. But I think my favorite visual additions are the little rabbits you can see hopping around the scene. Strangely, the fires in this zone can't be extinguished, probably because it would mess with the mechanics of the puzzle. If you remember my one-block playthrough, you might find it interesting that this is the first zone in the entire game that I couldn't beat with only one block. You need fire to ignite the two pyres, and you need to be able to move controllably, and no single block offers both. So the dream of beating the whole game with one block ends here. But at least I can beat this zone with a 5-block vanilla machine. Out of curiosity, I tried to find the symbols on the monolith to see if they mean anything. I found that most of the symbols are in the Elder Futhark, which is the oldest runic alphabet. However, I scoured the parent and child alphabets in that lineage, and I couldn't find the two near triangular characters. Unless the one is meant to be a complete triangle, in which case it's an uppercase Greek letter delta, which is often used in math equations to mean change. While exploring this zone, I looked for a convenient way to get the achievement for beating it without a grabber. My initial idea was to use an extending arm and wheel to nudge the segments into place. But that seemed a bit clumsy, so I tried to come up with something more efficient. I ended up with the Rune Master, which uses wood frames and flying spirals to move the segments. While I was working on this, I decided to experiment with the explosion that happens when the zone is beaten, to see if there's any way to avoid it. First, I tried running in the direction of the explosion. Then I tried hiding behind a mountain. After that, I tried parking at the far corner of the map and flying. I even tried hiding under the map. But apparently, the monolith always gets the last hit. During my many restarts, I noticed that the segments of the monolith drift very slowly, even when the simulation isn't active. Spiderling also did a major overhaul on Marksmans Pass to increase the challenge. In the previous version, which I'm showing here, you could easily shoot the bomb to kill all the archers. And if you couldn't quite make it over the ledge at the top, you could simply get the ground checkpoint first and then go up. But in the new version of Marksmans Pass, they added more archers and obscured the bomb, so it isn't as easy to take out the opposition and climb the slope uncontested. Plus, the far checkpoint is now difficult to access from the ground. So now, escaping undamaged with a land vehicle is a more interesting challenge. You might be interested to know that this isn't the first time Zone 14 was redesigned. In Besiege version 0.01, there used to be 3 groups of archers, but no rocks obstructing the top ledge. This heavily guarded layout was short-lived, and they remodeled the zone to the familiar form in Besiege version 0.02. The old HAL battlefield was also updated, though the revision is more subtle. At a glance it's hard to see what they changed, so I took before and after screenshots for comparison. It looks like they wanted a wider margin for error since this is only the third zone, which also gives larger machines a chance to squeeze through. I noticed a couple other changes that weren't mentioned in the patch notes. First, the chickens now run away from your machine rather than toward it. Also, in the village of Diam, the chickens no longer count toward the zone completion. And the other targets don't count for more to compensate, so you have to reach the goal with fewer available targets. I'm not sure if that's a glitch from changing which way the chickens run, or if the devs wanted to make the zone harder. The patch notes said that the Epsilon archers would run when on fire, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They do retreat in Multiverse, but they already did that before the update. While I was experimenting, I found another weird quirk. Apparently, there's one tent in the sandbox that's immune to fire. I tried this in version 0.45 and found that in the beginning, that tent would burn down just like the others. It's odd that such a strange and random quirk could slip into the programming. Another change I have to mention is, they finally added a return to center option for the steering hinge. The new feature opens up a lot of possibilities, like a scissor weapon that chambers on its own. It'll also make simpler and lighter aircraft possible, so I look forward to seeing what my favorite airplane builders do with it. Another use I found for RTC was to update my vanilla motorcycle, the Biking Viking, so that the rider's lean corrects on its own. Now it feels a lot more like riding an actual chopper through Besiege. I'll link the Biking Viking's Steam Workshop below, so you can take the updated version for a ride. You can also customize the chopper with skins, like I did using Displayer's Starting Block Cyan paint job. Before I close out this video, I want to show a neat trick with the steering geometry. If you put the steering hinges on backwards, you can set it up so that the wheels pivot around their centers, instead of rotating at the car's frame. This way, the wheels don't move so far front to back while steering. I'm moving the ballast inward a little less than 0.5, because if I move it in by a full half step, the machine breaks. The maximum steering angle is limited to about 30 degrees, because the large wheels can rub the top of the steering hinge. But if you want tight turning angles, you can use the smaller wheels instead. You can also map the controls so that F and H steer the front wheels only, while R and Y steer all four wheels. This gives you front wheel and all wheel steering. And if you want to get fancy, you can use E and U to add sideways driving. So those are the changes that I found most interesting in Besiege version 0.85. Please share your thoughts on the update in the comments below. At first, I was going to end the video here. But while I was messing around with the Rune Master, I found some cool zone completions I could do with it. It's kind of fun to take a machine that's very specifically designed for one thing, and try to make it work for something else. So I'll be uploading the Rune Master to the Steam Workshop linked below. I've also been working on a couple new machines for future videos, which I think you'll enjoy. The upcoming machines are very different from what I've built so far, in both category and build style. You can look at my new channel banner for a hint of what is to come. I'm going to end this Runemaster run with a few more no-grabber challenges. Thanks for watching my video, and please stay tuned for more.